The cameras caught it all, a group of leather-jacketed bikers laughing as they surrounded an old man in a wheelchair outside a gas station. What they didn't know was that the man wasn't alone. 20 minutes later, 3 black SUVs pulled up and out stepped a group of men who moved like ghosts, ice cold, steps sharp, trained to kill if they had to. They weren't cops. They were Navy SEALs. And that old man? He was their commander. The story begins 24 hours before that moment. The sun was dipping below the horizon in a small Arizona town when Walter Briggs, a 70-year-old veteran, rolled his wheelchair toward the local diner. His right leg was gone, lost to an IED explosion decades ago, but his spirit hadn't dimmed. He came every Thursday, same seat, same order, black coffee, apple pie, and silence. Locals knew him only as Walt, the quiet war hero with steel gray eyes and a polite nod for everyone. But that Thursday, things changed. A group of 5 bikers roared into the diner's parking lot. Loud engines. Louder mouths. They weren't from town. Tattoos and tempers both visible. They laughed too hard, spoke too rough. When one of them, the biggest, with a skull patch on his vest, noticed Walter, he sneered. "Hey, Grandpa Iron Wheels. You lose your parking spot, or just your legs?" The diner went silent. Walter didn't respond. He simply took a slow sip of his coffee. Another biker kicked the back of his wheelchair. "Come on, show some fight, old man." Walter's hand trembled, not from fear, but from restraint. He'd faced worse men in darker places. But that was long ago, when he wore a Navy SEAL trident on his chest. Then the smallest biker grabbed Walter's service cap, the faded one with the gold seal emblem, and tossed it into the mud. Laughter echoed through the diner. That's when the waitress, Sarah, stepped forward. "Hey! Leave him alone. He's a veteran, for God's sake." The leader smirked. "Then let the hero defend himself." Walter looked up, voice steady. "Son, if I stood up right now, you'd pray I didn't." They laughed again and walked out, kicking over his cap one more time. The leader whispered. "Guess your brothers left you behind, huh?" Walter's face hardened. For a brief second, Sarah saw something flash in his eyes, a fire she couldn't explain. As the bikers sped off, Walter took out an old, scratched phone. One button on it was taped over. He pressed it. A voice answered instantly. "Commander Briggs? Sir, is that you?" "Yeah. It's Walt. We've got a situation. Not urgent, but bring the boys." "Understood, sir." ETA 20. Sarah blinked. "Who was that?" Walter smiled faintly. "Just some old friends from the Navy." 20 minutes later, the sound of engines returned, but not from the bikers. 3 black Chevy Suburbans rolled into the parking lot, engines humming low. The doors opened in perfect sync. Out stepped 6 men, dressed in civilian clothes but carrying themselves like warriors. Sarah froze. These men weren't regular visitors. Their presence changed the air. One of them, tall with a beard and cold blue eyes, walked straight up to Walter and saluted. "Commander Briggs, sir. Reporting as ordered." The bikers, still hanging around by their bikes at the far end of the lot, looked confused. Walter nodded slowly. "Boys, I told you I don't stand up much these days. Mind giving me a little demonstration?" The bearded man smirked. "With pleasure, sir." Before anyone could react, the SEALs walked across the lot, quiet, controlled, deadly calm. The leader of the bikers stood up, trying to act tough. "What's this, Grandpa? You called backup?" The SEAL tilted his head. "No. He called family." In seconds, the bikers were surrounded, not hit, not hurt, just humbled. The SEALs didn't raise a fist. They didn't need to. Their eyes alone were enough to make the bikers back off, hands raised. One of the bikers stammered, "We didn't mean any harm, man." The SEAL leaned in. "You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. That man's the reason any of us are still alive." Walter watched quietly, the old pride in his chest flickering again. The bikers scrambled to their bikes and peeled out of the lot, tires screaming. Sarah stood speechless. She finally asked, "Who are you, really?" Walter looked at her, eyes soft now. "Once upon a time, I led men who'd walk through fire if I asked them to. Turns out, they still would." The SEALs laughed quietly, one patting Walter's shoulder. "You saved our lives, sir." "A phone call from you?" "We'd cross the world." As they loaded Walter's wheelchair into the SUV, Sarah whispered, "You know, the whole town's going to hear about this." Walter smiled. "Good. Maybe they'll remember you never mock a man who's already given more than most ever will." The SUVs rolled away, fading into the desert night. Sarah picked up Walter's old SEAL cap from the dirt, brushed it off, and whispered, "Thank you for your service, Commander." Collision ending message, for voiceover/YouTube outro. Sometimes, strength doesn't roar. Sometimes, it sits quietly in a wheelchair, holding memories, discipline, and a lifetime of sacrifice. And sometimes, the world needs a reminder that true warriors never fight alone. United States.